Hey there, Summer Learning Challenge crew. My name is Stacy Lindis, and I can be found on Twitter and Instagram at iRunTech. Katie invited me today to talk to you about my own challenge with sketchnoting that I've done for over 100 days. It started on April 1st and lasted 100 days. 100 days I spent sketchnoting. Prior to that, I did a lot of research on how sketchnotes can be used in the classroom. And I'm here today to talk to you about how you can use sketchnotes in your own work or how you can use sketchnotes with your students when you return to the classroom at the end of the summer or this fall. My journey started when I saw Sylvia Duckworth's sketchnotes on Twitter. She is an amazing sketchnoter, and I used her resource first. Her resource can be found at bit.ly/SYL Sketchnote. So bit.ly/SYL Sketchnote. And I learned a lot from her, and then I decided that I was going to share sketchnoting with my staff, and I wanted to delve into some research and the expertise of people who've been doing it for a really long time, like Sylvia. So I went out and purchased a couple of books. The first books I purchased were the Sketchnote Handbook by Mike Rohde, and then I purchased the Sketchnote Workbook, also by Mike Rohde. And because it's never enough for educators to have one book on an idea, I bought another book called Visual Note-Taking for Educators, and this one is by Wendy Pillars. And if you are an educator like me, you know that having practical applications and strategies to use in the classroom are invaluable. So if you're only going to buy one book and the book is for your classroom, I highly recommend Visual Note-Taking for Educators by Wendy Pillars. Or if you're doing it just for you and one book is in your budget, then I would say go with the Sketchnote Handbook by Mike Rohde. Both of them are wonderful. And then if you really want to stretch your budget, I would recommend The Doodle Revolution by Sunny Brown. And all of these fantastic sketchnoters are on Twitter, and most of them are on Instagram. And Mike Rohde actually even has a podcast, and I'm an avid podcast listener, so it's kind of interesting to listen to a podcast about a medium that is so visual. And I find myself, as I'm listening, if I'm not driving, I find myself looking at the show notes and checking out his guests and seeing what kind of sketch notes they create. And I challenge you to do the same. I challenge you to find a sketchnoter that you enjoy and to look at their work and see what types of things you can pirate and steal and make your own. And, you know, have fun with it. Sketchnotes, just so you know, start with some basic elements. They are squares, circles, triangles, dots, and lines, according to Mike Rohde. And other sketchnoters talk about how you can add some other interesting shapes like hearts and stars. And that pretty much rounds out the basic elements that you need to create most sketchnotes. And then sketchnoting also includes things like people and lettering, dividers and connectors, containers, thought bubbles, speech bubbles, frames, icons and bullets, arrows, all those things that you see in a sketchnote. That's pretty much what you throw in there. As far as tools go, you can start as simply as a nice bold black pen or a dark blue pen and an accent color, whether it be marker or a fine liner, and a nice notebook. I really like my Leuchtturm. And then just go crazy, you know, look at the models that are already out there and use the hashtag Sketchnote to get you started, right? If you're more of a digital note taker and you're someone who is constantly with their iPad or Surface, then go with some of the really great apps that are out there like Procreate, or I am a big fan of Bamboo Papers. I've used that one for years. Other sketchnoters really enjoy Paper 53. I gave that one a shot, and I really like that one too, but they always say you fall in love with the first thing that you try until something better comes along, and I'm still really comfortable with Bamboo. Right. Work on your visual library. If you are a literacy teacher, then you're going to have lots of books and papers and pens. If you are a social studies teacher, then you're going to work on things like drawing the world, drawing things that relate to your timelines in social studies. Your kids are going to sketchnote timelines, no doubt. If you're a science teacher or a math teacher, then your icons are going to focus on, on those images, whether it be beakers and Bunsen's and formulas, symbols that relate to the maths, those things. And my challenge for you is to sketchnote 10 things this summer. I'm not saying to sketchnote for 100 days. For me, it was a great challenge, and after 100 days, I will tell you, you feel remarkably accomplished, but 100 days is a long time, and April 1st seems like a really, really long time ago. It's almost foolish starting on that day, right? But I challenge you to sketchnote a TED Talk. I challenge you to also sketchnote a TED Ed. Those two resources were great for me in sketchnoting content that was semi-live. I could pause, I could stop, I could re-listen to things. So it wasn't quite as intimidating as sketchnoting something live. I would say sketchnote a book or two, one professional, maybe a favorite children's book that you love, and try to get those ideas and emulate what your kids might be doing. Sketchnote a phone call. I like to do that when I talk to my mom. It keeps me engaged. Sketchnote a blog post that you find intriguing and share it with the author. Sketchnote a podcast. There's nothing more, there's no better way to keep track of what's going on in a podcast than to get your mind and your brain and your hand working together to retain the information that the host or hosts are sharing with you. Sketchnote list, either your own personal list. One of my sketchnotes was 13.1 reasons why I run. Sketchnote your favorite quote. Sketchnote a live lecture or your faculty meeting. I know a lot of people are going back to school. Sketchnote that first meeting and then share it with your building admin and show them that this is a great way for people to, stay attentive in their meetings. And finally, sketchnote yourself. What are some of the things that you're passionate about? What are some things that you love? And let the world know. And then I really challenge you. I'm not saying you have to share them right away, but I challenge you to share them eventually when you feel comfortable. And feel free to tag me. Like I said, I'm at iRunTech on Instagram and on Twitter. And I look forward to seeing what you guys come up with. Have a great summer and good luck at the start of the school year.